problem. You know, if you have people, the enemy could come in and say he wanted to populate the full area, so that's Chatzi Sheva Menashe. He put half the tribe there to populate the area. Okay. Okay, let's get back to the ridges, and the indentations here.
Isn't that because of isn't that the power of the minyan to evoke Achdus?
Minyan is 10 is.
Yeah, but we're all together. We play together.
Okay. We left of Mem Aleph. Page 108, Mishna Berura 108, Mechaber. We had said that the bias has to be square, but in height it could be, the height doesn't have to be in sync with the width and the width.
It doesn't have to be
the width and length doesn't have to be a cube. Orach rochav habatim v'govn ein lo shir. Okay, the length, the width of the batim, or the height ein lo shir. There's no limit, of course. It has to be fit on the person's head, and that the Mishna Berura speaks about tefillin like what the Chabadskis wear. You ever see the tefillin sharosh? The Gemara says that on the head there's enough room for 2 pairs of tefillin, right? But it has to be beinei necho. It has to be within the range between one's eyes, right? To the hairline. What about if it's so wide? It goes behind, and it has to be the area where a child, where a newborn baby, where the skull is actually soft when it's born, and eventually the skull comes together over there. The cranium comes together. What about if it goes behind that? Then it's out of bounds. What about if it goes over the hairline because it's so large? You're not wearing the tefillin properly. It's so cumbersome, you can't wear it right. Well, let's say it's on the yad. It's supposed to be on top of the muscle. What about it goes down to the bend of your elbow, and it goes up almost to the armpit? That's how wide it is. It's out of bounds. So it's not valid. So when he says ein lo shir, as long as it's within the parameters of where it's supposed to be, ein lo shir. No, it says orech v'rochav habatim. Right, the length, the width, the govon, and the height. No, it says all three. Ain't no shear. All of them has no shear. As long as you could get the parshas in, you could have tiny tefillin, right? It's okay. It's not a problem. Let's see Mem Aleph. Orach v'rochav kol mokum nochon. Now he says, nochon lochos divrei hagonim shom shlechatchil lo yasos en kitanim netzboim mitzba'ayim al tzba'ayim. V'hainu im atetura. You hear that? The Gaonim say it should not be less than 2 inches by 2 inches, including the titura, including the area where the strap goes, the ledge. He says if it's no more than 1 inch by 1 inch with the ridge, and it's only an inch by 1 inch, it's possible, because it's impossible. Here, in those days, people were such tiny tefillin. Literally, it was like a finger. Hear this? And because it has to be folded so tightly, if the box is so small, how do you fit the parchments in there? You have to, first the writing has to be so tiny, and it has to be rolled so tightly, ultimately you're going to cause the letters are going to just come off the parchment. You know, we can see later, some parchments, they're called the wax parchments. They wax them. So and it's a problem, because when you put the letter on, before, so it's easy. But the fact is, the ink doesn't fully absorb, properly into the cloth. It's attached, but it's not absorbing. What happens eventually? The letter just slips off the parchment, and they become posilises. He's saying that because they're so small in the area, they have to be folded. They're very inferior, these parchments. Mitzad chakamokom kasher be'enai roisi harbe mehem. Chofetz Chaim, he saw many with his own eyes. It's hearsay. He saw it with his. Al-Kain Hashem and Nafsho Yishmeim. Therefore, a person who's concerned for his neshama, stay away from these tiny tefillin. I used to tell you that Steve the Iraqi many years ago came. He was an Iraqi Jew. He was born in Bombay. He had tefillin, tiny. They were even soft, and he used to pride himself. So I said, Steve, well, you better go check them. Because the question is, even initially they may have been kosher, but the question is, how long do they stay kosher? Okay.
I remember 26 or 27 years ago when I first came here, I had very tiny tefillin. The next day you gave me a pair of tefillin and said, now you wear these. You didn't want to shop me with.
There are two. Has a dimension. I think it needs to be certain.
We'll see. Shin shel tefillin. That you have the shin on the shel rosh. Haloch l'Moshe Sinai. Sheyase bo rabatim shel rosh kimin shin boletes. The shin protrudes. It protrudes from the leather. Mikimte or, which means it's the leather being folded. Kemet really means the creases. As a result of creasing the leather, that's how it's formed. Echad mimino, echad mismal. One to the right of the shel rosh, one to the left.
What is the significance of the shin?
Shakai. It's shin, dalid, yud. Right. Shel Yamin Haminiach. Now the question is, how many heads does the shin have? 3 or 4? What? We'll see.
3, but in the fitting it says 4.
That's what we're reading, what it's supposed to be. Shel Yamin Haminiach, Shel Shlosha Roshim. To the right of the one who's putting on the tefillin, it has 3. V'shel Smol Haminiach, and to the left of the Miniach, the one who's putting them on, Shel Arba Roshim. That's 4 tops to it. Hagor Miu Mehipech Enu Nifsel. What about if you switch to go rather than on the right you had 3, you had on the left, and vice versa, it's kosher. L'chilchil it should be 3 to the right and 4 to the left, but if it's inverted, it's okay. It's not possible. It's a problem. It's a lochel Mishna Berura Tefillin. That's a lochel Mishna Berura Tefillin.
You can't write a shin in the parsha.
Yep. So Mishna Berura says when we say the shin, the question, does that be ksav ashuris, or even a shin not ksav ashuris? Does that meet the criteria of the Sefer Torah, or not? It's very difficult. So he says even if it's not written exactly like in the Sefer Torah, as long as it resembles 3 and 4, it's good, it's kosher. But he says today the Sofrim are so careful and they're such experts, they form that shin exactly like in the Sefer Torah. But factually it's kosher even if it's not like in the Sefer Torah. It has to look like a shin. He says. Just end with Messina. V'miskalkel hashin ve'no nikar, tzorach l'chadsho michodosh dumyo, v'miskalkel ribuk v'or. Let's say the shin eventually becomes distorted, has to be corrected. It's like the box losing its squareness. V'min shin umashmut b'achronim t'muras shinin shalonu tzarnosim b'tfilin dai. V'lobina davko ksav stam mamash. It has a semblance of the way it's written in the Sefer Torah. Doesn't have to meet all the criteria. Uminik sofrim kayom beizum komit lahade lasosim b'chsav ashuris mamash. They literally, it's done b'chsav ashuris. That.
Have the Meforshim explained the significance of 3 and 4?
I'm sure they do.
I think the heads of the shin are all like the left.
Now I just want to end with this. Buletes. V'imosa ashin b'klav. Let's say he put the shin on a klav, and he glued it on to the side of the bias. Right? V'hidbik klav acher, v'hidbik bedevek al bias posul. Yep. What about if you hold, it's considered 1 or. If you hold gluing is not 1 or, it's understood why it's possible. Right? Maybe that's the question. Maybe that's called boletus. Because since the parchment is like an extra piece, it protrudes. Right? But it's not boletus. What about he makes it on that piece of parchment and it's boletus, like raised lettering, and then he glues it on? Well, let's see, he forms it on a piece of leather, separate, and glues it on. Probably be kosher, right? As long as it maintains its squareness, doesn't cause it to lose its squareness.
But it's not one.
It is, according to someone we had earlier, somehow gluing, it makes it considered one hide. It's not two hides. Okay, to be continued.